on to grade 11 mathematics, and we're considering algebraic fraction, which is on chapter 17 of your textbook. And we'll start off with exercise 17b, which is on page 195 of your text. So the process is to solve question by question, and I'm trusting that as we go question by question, we will gain understanding. So I'll start with question 1. And for question 1, it says 18ab times or over 15bc times 20cd over 24de. Right, so that's what question 1 is going to be. So the first thing we do is to try to cancel out. You can cancel out numbers first, or you cancel out letters. It depends on you. I choose to cancel out letters first. So B, we go with this B, and this C, we go with this C. This D, we go with this D. So I'm left with A and I'm left with E. The next thing I do is to cancel out the numbers. I'll start gradually. 3 here will give me 6. 3 here will give me 5. Now, 5 here will give me 1. 5 here will give me 4. 4 here will give me 1. 4 here will give me 6. 6 here will give me 1. 6 here will give me 1. So I'm invariably left with A over E. So the answer is what? A over E. That's for question 1. So we go to question 2. And it says 12 dm cubed over 15 cd cubed divided by 9c cubed n, 9c cubed n, all over 10c squared d squared. That's what you have. So the first thing you do before you start solving is to take care of this division sign. And the division sign will become 12dn cubed divided by 15cd cubed times, and this will turn 10c squared d squared all over 9c cubed n. So that's what you're going to have. At this point, you can now do your cancellations. Like I said, I prefer to cancel letters first. To look at this, d and d squared will cancel out d cubed. So when I cancel this out, it means I'll cancel this and cancel this. The next thing I look at is c. This is c squared. We cancel out. I have c cubed there, so this will cancel and I'll be left with 1. The next thing I'll cancel will be what? N. I cancel the n here and then I'll be left with what? 2 here. Remember that the n is actually 3 n's, which is 3n times n times n. Once I'm satisfied with that, because it looks cumbersome, I will take this out, n squared over c squared. Now the question is, how did I get c squared? How is it that I'm having c squared? How is it that I'm having c squared? This is c, this is to the power of 1. This is c again to the power of 1. So that is what? C squared. The next thing I do, I try to cancel out the terms. If I cancel with 3, I will have 3 here. If I cancel with 3, I will have 4 here. If I cancel with 5, I will have 3 here. If I cancel with 5, I will have 2 here. So this will be 4 times 2, which will give me 8, over 3 times 3, which will give me 9. And as such, I have 8n squared over 9c squared. Once I'm through with this is what the final answer will look like. Like I always say, your duty is to solve and check whether what I have gotten as my answer is correct. So let's go to question 3. We have solved number 1, we solved number 2. Let's go to question 3. And question 3 says m times n plus n over m times mn over 3m plus n and 3n. So how do you go about solving this? First of all, you have n plus n over m times mn divided by, you can factor something out of there. So you're going to have 3 into m plus n. This will cancel this will cancel this, and invariably the answer becomes what? N over 3. So that settles that question. Let's go to question 4. In question 4, you have uv over 3u minus 6v times 4u minus 8v divided by u squared v. So how do you go about solving this? How do you go about solving this? Quite simple again. This will be equal to uv over 3 into u minus 2v times 4 into u minus 2v divided by u squared v. If you look at this closely, you can cancel this, and you can cancel one of the u here, and it will cancel here. The v's will go, and as such, the answer becomes 4 over 3u. That's what the answer will be for that. Now to our next question. A squared minus b squared over a squared plus ab divided by 2a minus 2b divided by over what? ab. So your first thing is to take care of this. This is the description of difference of two squares. So let me take that out first of all. So a squared minus b squared is actually equal to a minus b or plus b into what? A minus b. This is a concept of difference of two squares. That's for this one. So having known this, we can, but this is where, this I think is the only real new thing you might encounter. We can come to this and say that this will be a plus b into a minus b divided by a into a plus b divided by 2 into a minus b over ab. You try to factorize the things out before you proceed for that. And at this point, you're going to have a plus b into a minus. Okay. Now watch this, please. You can cancel at this point. So you're going to have a minus b. So sometimes don't allow your work. As you solve, you make an observation. You take care of that observation before you move forward. Times what? ab over 2 into a minus b. This can cancel this. This can cancel this. And so your final answer becomes b over 2. That is the solution to question 5. Okay, let's try to solve the next question. If you look at this question, this is difference of two squares. So I can start by taking a squared minus 4, and that will give me what? A squared minus what? 2 squared. So please look at this. Trying to take care of this one. And this will give me what? A plus 2 into a minus 2. That's for this. The next thing I'll try to do is take care of this. I try to spot out where there will be problem, handle the problem first, and then resubstitute those things back to make my solution process an interesting one. Now the next thing you do is look at a squared minus 3a plus 2. Now, the concept of sum of factor, this is a quadratic sum of factor, product of factor, this will be minus 3a. The sum of factor is actually this term here, and the product is nothing by multiplying this and this, that's 2a squared. You observe that the product of factor is positive, while the sum of factors is what? Negative. So you may need to recall this, that there are two conditions for which we can get a positive product. For you to have a positive product, you must have either both positive or both negative. Now, to further help you know which one to pick, you will look at your sum of factors. If you look at my sum of factors, I'm having a negative here. So that tells me that the factors I need must both be what? Negative. So that will be factors equal to negative and negative. So I think of two numbers that I will multiply to get 2a squared. And obviously that will be what? Minus negative 2a and negative a. The other things I would have shown you for want of time, but maybe as we proceed, when it need arise, I will take care of them. So this will now give you what? A squared minus 2a minus a plus 2. The question is, Uncle, what have you done? What I've simply done is to replace where I have minus 3a, I have now put what? This. And as such, this will give me what? A into a minus 2 and minus 1 into a minus 2. So what do I have? I will have a minus 2 into a minus 1. So those are the factors we are going to get. It is after you have gotten this, you will now need to resubstitute these ones where you have them. So this will be a. From here, a plus 2 into a minus 2 over a minus 2 into a minus 1. When you have the division sign, it turns to multiplication and it will turn to toggle. And that will be what? A minus 1 over a. So what do you have? This will cancel, sorry, not that. This will cancel this, and this will cancel this. So obviously your answer becomes what? A plus 2 over a. A plus 2 over a. And that helps to simplify that problem. Alright, so we proceed in solving now. This is yet another question, question 7. So how do we handle this? We start by where you try to identify where you're going to have issues, 1 and 2. So I'll try to pick this. If I pick out this m squared minus 9, this will give me m squared minus 3 squared. Now this is a perfect square. So it means as background knowledge, you need to be very grounded in what? Perfect squares. So this will now give me m minus 3 into m plus 3. And that takes care of this. Now try to take care of this part. So m squared minus m minus 6. So sum of factors will be minus m. Product of factors will be what? Minus 6m squared. How did I get that? The first and the last term being multiplied. Now notice that interestingly here, the product of factors is a negative. So one will be negative, one will be positive. Now, the sum helps you to check which will be bigger. And if you look at the narrative here, 6 is actually what? 2 times 3. So 2 times 3 means that this will be negative, 3 will be negative, and 2 will be positive. So m and m. I will then replace the, I will now put this where I have this. So that will be m squared minus m minus, 3m plus 2m minus 6, and that will give me m into m minus 3 plus 2 into m minus 3. So that will be m minus 3 into m plus 2. So that We have gotten this and we have gotten this. So the next thing we'll now do is to try to make the relevant solution. So this will now be what? M plus 3 into M minus 3 divided by M minus 3 into M plus 2 times. I can now open this one up to give me M into M plus 2 all over what? M squared. So you can see that I can cancel this, I can cancel this. I can cancel one of this, and I'll cancel that. So what I'm going to have will be M plus 3 over what? M. That is the final answer for question number 7. Okay, so let's look at question 8. It looks quite lengthy, but I need you to focus on the division sign here. So if I were you, in summing, I will try to look at first what I can cancel out. When the problem is very clumsy like this, look at what you can cancel out. So I will look at this. I can cancel, I have 9 over what? 8. So I'll start by writing 9n squared u over 8n squared n cubed v squared times, this will turn. But before I turn it, I will try to cancel out first. This will be 5, this will be 8. So I will have what? 5 n u cubed over what? 8n times, I can cancel here, I'll get 15, I'll get 4. So that will be 4n squared v cubed over n 15 n cubed u. So the next thing you do is to try to look out for what can cancel out. Now here you have to take it one at a time. Take it one at a time. It's looking very cumbersome, but you can start somewhere. I can't tell you what you must do. You must start somewhere. You can start by cancelling the letters, or you can start also by cancelling the numbers. For this question, I will choose to cancel the numbers first. So 5 here, 1, 5 here, 3. 3 here, 1, 3 here, 3. See what I'm doing is I'm taking it little by little. 4 here, 2, 4 here, 1. So if you look at it very well, I have 3 over 16. I'll write that one first, because this is one question where you can really make very interesting errors. So you take it gradually. The next thing you look at is n. Now if you look at n, I have n to the power of 2 here, I have n to the power of 3, and n to the power of what? 1. So this is n to the power of 4, n to the power of 2. So I'll strike this one off, and strike these ones off, and I'll be left here with n to the power of 2. For sum of index here of m here, 4 minus 2. After m, I will go to u. I cancel u, I cancel u. Here and here, I'm taking care of that. Now the next thing I do is to go to n. Look at n. N to the power of 3, n to the power of 1, n to the power of 2. So I can knock these ones out. And I won't have n anymore. The next thing I do is to try to look out for v. Notice I'm using this term as my reference to work. V to the power of 2, v to the power of 3. This is 3 minus 2, and that will be v. Now, I'll go to, I still have a u here. That will be u cubed. So this will be equal to 3u cubed over 16n squared. Now, please notice that in handling this question, we may have made a mistake. So it's important for you as a student to solve. And if there's an error in the answer I've gotten, you have to draw my attention to it in my next class. Okay, now we have two questions, question 9 here and question 10, and we're going to try to solve them. Now, we start by looking at this. This is difference of two squares. This will be a plus b into A minus B divided by, what is common here is A into B plus A times 2A cubed over what? A into what? B minus A. So if you look at this, I have A squared here, I have A here, I have A here, I have A cubed here. So what I can do is to cancel 2 from it, I have 1 left, and then I strike this one off. Now, the next thing you need to do is to rearrange this. So I'm going to put a little nugget here. Please note that A plus B is equal to B plus A. Also note that B minus A is equal to negative into A minus B. Please take note of this. These two nuggets, this is one, and this is yet another. Take note of these two nuggets because this is what will help you restructure this one. So this will be equal to A plus B into A minus B times 2A all over. Look at this. A plus B for this one times minus A minus B. This will cancel this will cancel this, and your final answer becomes 2A over minus 1, which will be negative 2A. So the answer to this is negative 2A. Now let's look at question 10. The trick in handling questions like this is to try to take them as simple as possible. Don't rush. Take aspect by aspect and then break it down. With time, you will build speed and momentum. Now, look at this. The common factor here is what? 3. So I'm going to take it piece by piece, little by little. 3 into what? D squared minus 4 all over 9D squared. Now, before I proceed to this, I can just cancel out this in 3, cancel out here 1. So times what? 6D squared over 4 into what? D plus 2. And cancel here I have 2, cancel here I have 3. So the next thing, I will try to write out now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take care of this. This will be D squared minus 2 squared. I'm breaking it down for those of us who may not be able to see this very well. Over 3D squared times 3D squared over 2 into what? D plus 2. You watch carefully, this and this can cancel out. Sorry, let's be very observant. This is D cubed. Sorry. That is D cubed. What made it D squared? Okay, so let's correct that. This is D cubed. So when this cancels out, I'll be left with what? D. Let me be careful. Sometimes in handling problems like this, because of speed, you can make some very funny mistakes. Now, this will be D plus 2 into D minus 2 times D all over what? 2 into D plus 2. This will go with this, and I'm left with D into D minus 2 all over 2. So let me do a quick check on the question to be sure that I have not made any mistake. Now let's check D cubed. All right. This is 9D squared. All right, I think I'm right with that. But like I always will say, let's try to solve these questions. And wherever you notice a mistake, please do well to draw the teacher's attention to it. Thank you for this. All right, let's go to question 11. Yet another interesting one. Yet another interesting question. So we can see there's something common to this. So I will start the options. I can cancel out first, but let's factor out. This will be 2 into A minus B plus C all over 8BC times 10ABC all over 5 into A minus B plus C. This will go with this. BC will go with BC. 2 go here, 2, 4, 2, 5, 1. So my answer becomes what? C over 2. That solves that one. A over 2. A over 2. A be what is left over 2. Now, questions like this, like I've said, you need to be very, very careful so that your error rate will be very minimal. So that's A over 2. Let's write that very well. Now we come to this. This will be n squared minus what? 3 squared over n into n minus 1 times n squared minus 3n plus 2 all over n squared plus n minus 6. Now, where I'm going to have issues will be this and this, because we have solved enough of this for you to see what this one will do. So we'll take it out, n squared minus 3n plus 2, and then I pick n squared plus n minus 6. So let's look at this. Sum of factors minus 3n, product of factors will be 2n squared. So what are the factors? The factors will both be negative, so this will be negative and this will be negative also. Now, the product is positive, you know that. So this will be minus 2n, comma n. If I add this, I will get this. If I multiply, I will get this. So I can finish that one up to be what? N squared minus 2n. We use this to replace this. Minus n plus what? 2. And that will be n into n minus 2 into minus 1 into n minus 2. Meaning that this will be n minus 1, n minus 2 rather, into n minus 1. So let's try to take care of this one. We're going to have sum of factors as n and product of factor as minus 6n squared. So what are the factors? Factors will be negative and positive. Why? Because the product is negative. The only way you can have a negative product is when one term is positive and the other is negative. To confirm what you need to do, you look at your sum. Your sum is positive. It means that the negative number is smaller and the positive number is bigger. So I look at 6. I need to break 6. 6 is what? 3 times 2. So I'll put 2 here and I'll put 2 or 3n here. I will substitute this in this equation or in this expression rather. And that will be n squared minus 2n plus 3n minus 6. So that will be n into n minus 2 and plus 3 into n minus 2. What does that give you? N minus 2 into n plus 3. Alright, so we continue with what we've been doing. We now make our relevant substitution. So this will now be what? N minus 3 or plus 3 into n minus 3 all over n into n minus 1 times n. Look at this one, is this one here, n minus 2 into n minus 1 divided by, we look at this one, is this one here, that will be n minus 2 into n plus 3. So what we have, we now check what can cancel out. This will cancel this will cancel this, and this will cancel this. So invariably the answer becomes n minus 3 over n. And that's the solution to question 12.